Hi guys, Annette here. I am making that organic strawberry jam today. Sorry, my cord's in the way. My phone's charging while I record this. Today I'm going to make strawberry jam. I'm going to bring you guys along with me. I've made strawberry jam in the past quite a few times, but it's going to be a little different this time, and it's going to be my first time using this Pomona's Universal Pectin. It works a little bit differently than the other pectins, but I hear it is more natural, and it is a low sugar pectin. You do not have to add very much sugar to this pectin to get it to gel. One of the big differences that I noticed with reading the directions is it not only comes with like the pectin packet, but then it comes with this little packet that makes calcium water. So it gives you the directions right here on like how to mix up the powder to make the calcium water. And then I'm just going to use the recipe that came in the little pamphlet that came inside the box. And there's the strawberry right there. And so it says that we're going to need 4 cups of mashed fruit. And then we'll need some honey or some sugar. I'm going to use organic sugar. And it says that you can use 3/4 of a cup to 2 cups. I'm going to kind of do it by taste. My berries sat in the fridge over the night with some sugar and some lemon juice in them, just to macerate a little bit. So I will just do the sugar to taste. I have jars in my, I use my pressure canner for water bath canning. It is a Presto 23 quart. I used to have a water bath canner as well. I gave it away to a friend because it's just as easy, for me anyway, to use this rather than pull out the water bath canner. And then I only need to keep 1 big pot in the house. And this actually holds more jars in it than my water bath would, just because I can kind of smush them all around in there rather than have them each in individual little spots, and that's how my water bath canner was. So there are 12 jars in there total. There are 10 half pints, and there is 1 12-ounce and 1 4-ounce jelly jar. This may be one of the recipes that I'm going to enter into the fair, so I wanted to do a teeny one, a 12-ounce jelly, and an 8-ounce jelly until I see what they want. Hopefully they wouldn't want a pint. It's not a very common jelly jar anyway, so hopefully a half pint jelly jar or a 12-ounce jelly jar will work. And I put 1 teeny tiny one in there in case just the 4-ounce jelly jar will work, because I think they do open it up and test it and stuff, but I'm not 100% sure. So those are in there, getting warmed up. The water is going to start boiling any minute here. I have my big Dutch oven. It's a little stained inside. It's okay. It just means that it's well loved. So that's what I'm going to use there. There's the organic sugar in that canister. And here are our strawberries. And you can see they released a lot of juice overnight in the fridge with that sugar. And I did use the organic sugar and some lemon juice. I didn't have any organic lemon juice, so I just went ahead and used a couple packets of the real lemon powder. It's just dehydrated lemon juice, basically. And that was just to keep the color nice and make sure that the strawberries stayed fresh. So these, I'm going to measure out, I think I'm going to do a double batch. The Pomona's Pectin said that you can double your batch of jam using their recipe. So I think I'm going to use 8 cups of strawberries with the juice and up to 4 cups of sugar, which I probably won't do any more than 3 because there's already some sugar in with these berries. So when I get to the next step, I will let you know. I'm going to make up this calcium water using these directions right here. Sorry, my stove is a little messy. I'll do a little close-up of that. So yeah, so I'm going to follow these directions, make the calcium water, and then I will proceed with the recipe. So I will see you guys shortly. Okay guys, I'm back. This is our 8 cups of mashed strawberry. And then also you can kind of see it's white right there. I haven't really stirred it in yet. There are 2 excuse me, I need to add 2 more because I'm doing a double batch. There needs to be 4 teaspoons of the calcium water in there. Good thing I'm talking to you guys so that I remember to do it. So I'll go ahead and do that right now. This calcium water, they said will, or the directions say that it can go in a jar with a tight-fitting lid and be kept in the refrigerator to use for next time, so you don't have to mix it up again. So I will put the rest of that in a little 4-ounce jar with a lid on it and keep that in the back of the fridge after we're finished today. So they want you to measure the fruit, have it mashed up. They want you to add the calcium water to it. I'm going to go ahead and stir it up. This is my potato masher I just used to mash up these strawberries. After they macerate in the fridge overnight, they become pretty soft, so they're pretty easy to mash up with a tomato masher, even though they haven't, or a potato masher, even though they haven't been cooked. So I'm just going to use that to stir that around real quick. This is on high, so it can come to a boil. I will put a little bit of butter in there so that it doesn't foam too much, and I believe I actually have organic butter in the fridge. So I will add just a little bit of that in there. Then these directions are a little bit different than the ball pectin directions as well, or Sure-Gel if you use that. These directions call for you to mix the pectin into the sugar. And I will say this Pomona's pectin use a lot less than the ball pectin. So the strawberry jam for 4 cups of strawberries called for only 2 teaspoons of pectin and then 2 teaspoons of the calcium water. That's right there. So there are, I did do 4 teaspoons of pectin. You can kind of see it's there on top, and then underneath is 3 cups of organic sugar. And the Pomona's pectin wants you to mix the pectin with the sugar, and then when this comes to a boil, you vigorously stir this in. Bring it back to a boil for a minute or 2, it says, and then it's ready to jar up. So that's the method that I'm going with. Hopefully everything works out well. I'm going to stir this up a little bit, maybe without making a huge mess. I don't know if this just keeps it from clumping or why the directions are that way. Like I said, I've never used this pectin before. Most people that get the hang of it, though, from like the reviews I've read, really like it. And supposedly it's a more natural pectin. Like, I noticed that they sell this pectin and only this pectin at my food co-op, my local food co-op. So I think it's a more natural variety. It does, I believe it comes from citrus. All I know is that it was on sale at, I think, WilliamsSonoma.com, and they had free shipping, and it was like 2 packages for, I want to say it was like $2.99 maybe on sale or clearance. And so I went ahead and got, I think I got 6 boxes altogether. I think I got 3 2-packs. So that's pretty well stirred up. So that, once this strawberry mixture here comes to a boil, it's already starting to get a little hot, I can hear it. Give it a little stir. It's going to need some butter here in a minute so it doesn't foam up. Once this comes to a boil, I'll add that in and I'll show you guys that. And I wanted to show you that this is the pectin, and there's quite a bit left in here. It says that it will make 2 to 4 batches from 1 box. The ball pectin, I feel like the most you can get from a box is maybe like 3 batches. It's not very much. And those canisters of the ball pectin are $3.79 at my Fred Meyer, which is a Kroger store. That's the cheapest I can get it. It's even more expensive at my Walmart. Some places have it for $5 or $6. So, like I said, cheapest for me is like $3.79, and it only makes about 2 or 3 batches. Where this, I think that I can get another 2 out of this. I'm going to measure it here in a little bit and we'll see, but I didn't realize that this wasn't just a 1-batch box. Like if you get Sure-Gel, it makes like 1 batch and that's it. And I didn't realize that about the Pomona's pectin, that it made a lot more than just one batch. So it says right there, but I had never gotten it at the store or read it, just because I had always made used the ball pectin. So if you guys see this in your jelly makers, give it a try. Hopefully it'll work out well for me today. And I will show you guys the next step when it comes up. So yeah, it says it makes up to 22 half-pint jars, so that's a lot. So yeah, I'll be back in just a bit and show you guys what's going to happen next. Okay guys, so I put a tiny bit of butter in there. It's already melted. It is getting quite hot. I think it'll come to a boil any moment here. When this comes to a boil, we will stir that in right there, and we will let it come to a full rolling boil for 1 or 2 minutes, like the directions say. And I think I'm going to put a little plate in the freezer to do a little gel test. If you want to test the set of your jam or jelly before you jar it up and process it, if you put a plate in the freezer, let it get very, very cold, and then put a little tiny, like maybe half teaspoon dollop of your jam on that very cold plate, it should set right away, and then you will know that that jam will gel and set in the jar. So when this comes back to a boil, or when it comes up to a boil, I'll bring you guys back and show you the addition of the organic sugar and the Pomona's pectin. Alright guys, this is boiling away, as you can see, so I'm going to add the sugar and the pectin right to this. So there it is right there. I'm just going to dump this whole thing right in here. That kind of seems like a lot of sugar. There's probably no more than 4 cups in here total. Like I said, this is 3, but then there was some sugar mixed in already with those berries so they could macerate in the fridge overnight. But this is a lot less sugar than a Ball regular sugar or Sure Gel regular sugar jam recipe. Those recipes tend to call for more sugar actually than actual fruit. I just don't understand. Like I understand why they used to, because back before they sold commercial pectin, you needed a lot of sugar to get the pectin in the fruit to gel, and you also had to cook the fruit for a much longer period of time. Sometimes it was up to like 2 hours. To get it to that gel point. And like I said, you had to use a lot of sugar. Nowadays, with the low sugar pectins that you can find, I think that it's really silly to make a full sugar recipe. I've done it with some really tart fruit, like plums. That turns to work out okay because it's very tart fruit. So all that sugar doesn't make it taste overly sweet. But with something like strawberries that are kind of already naturally sweet, I find that the low sugar recipes give you a much more fresh, pleasant, homemade tasting jam or jelly. So I tend to use a low sugar pectin. When I buy the Ball little jugs of pectin, I almost always buy the low to no sugar one. And then, like I said, I'm trying out this Pomona's for the first time. Hopefully it works well because I have more boxes, and like I said, it says 1 box can make up to 22 half pints, which is kind of a lot. So hopefully it works out well. It looks really good. It smells really good. We're just going to let it come back to a full rolling boil. It looks like that sugar and that pectin dissolved wonderfully. You can tell it's kind of the broth is, or the juicy part is kind of a nice clear color again. When you first add in your pectin and your sugar, it will look cloudy, but as it cooks, it'll come back to kind of that clear color. That little bit of butter is keeping it from foaming up too much, which is nice. So once this comes to a rapid boil, I'll let it go for a minute or 2, and then I will test the gel set, and we should be ready to jar up this strawberry jam. Also, I'm not doing it with this batch because I don't have organic balsamic vinegar, and I did want to keep this as organic as possible, especially since I'm going to make it a fair entry. You can add about 1/4 cup per recipe. So I would have done probably about 1/2 cup for this much strawberries of balsamic vinegar, and it just really, really deepens the flavor of the strawberries. It does not taste like vinegar at all when you go to eat it as jam. It just really brings out and deepens the flavor of the strawberries. And other berries too. I've put balsamic in raspberry jam as well, and it tastes really, really good. So when this has boiled for a couple minutes, I will bring you guys back, and we should be about ready to start getting the jars out of the canner and filling them up with this beautiful looking jam. So I'll be back. Alright guys, so our jars are boiled and sterilized. I'm going to turn that burner down to about medium, get those jars out on the counter. I'm going to put some hot water in with those lids. These don't have any writing on them because they are the Mainstays, which is the Walmart brand lids. They are now made in the United States, and I noticed that every time I've used them now, they seal perfectly. So if you had a problem in the past with them when they were made in China, I agree, they were crap then. They are made in the USA now, and they work, I think, just as good as the Bowl brand. Sometimes the little pop isn't quite like as loud, but I have had no seal failures with these new Mainstays made in the United States lids. So those are those. I do need to get some rings out still. And then there's our jam. I still haven't done the test, but I did sheet it off of a metal spoon. That's another way you can test it. And it sheeted wonderfully, so it should set up just fine. I am going to get that little plate out of the freezer in just a moment after I get these jars out of the canner, and I will show you guys that in just a moment. Okay guys, I got my little dish out of the freezer. It is very, very cold. I'm going to set it down right there. We're going to take just a little bit of this jam. You can even see it's getting that little skin on the top as it's been sitting here. In another tip, if your fruit floats on the top, let your jam rest just a little while in the pan before you jar it up and process it. You're going to process this for 10 minutes in a boiling water bath canner. It has sugar in it. Mine also has a little lemon juice from macerating. The fruit is high in acid, and so you shouldn't have any problems with molding or anything like that. Also, some people like to take one jar out of the canner at a time, fill it up, put it back in. That's just not how I do it. I do it assembly line, not necessarily recommended. You do what's best for you. I feel like I still sterilize my jars, which you don't have to do anymore if you are processing for 10 minutes, but I do anyway. So I sterilize my jars. I take them out. I do set them all out. I'll show them to you over here. See, they're all set out. I will fill all of them up, wipe the rims, cap them, and then put them in the canner. And once it comes to a boil, I will start the 10 minutes when this comes to a rapid boil. Also, I have my ladle that I'm going to use and my funnel in there nice and hot, and they'll be ready to go. So almost everything I'm using is sterilized before putting it out, so I don't really feel the need to go individually one by one to put these back into the canner. So here's the jelly. Take a little bit of it, maybe. There we go. And we're going to set it right in there. And I probably let that plate get a little warm, but you see how it already kind of sticks? That is already jelly. So let me get a little teaspoon. Maybe. There we go. Move these over just a little. And you can see here that that is set up jelly. You can spread that on some toast. So this pectin did work wonderfully, it looks like, and I tasted it, but and give it another little taste. It tastes really, really good. And it only, I mean, there was a little lemon juice in there. It has no lemon flavor at all. It tastes just of strawberries. So there it is, kind of a close-up if I can get it to focus. There we go. Strawberry jam. Very, very easy to make. Strawberry season is upon us. At least where I live, it starts in about June, so a little bit longer for local strawberries. These were organic. They weren't necessarily local. But pretty soon we will get some local strawberries around here. And so it's a great way to preserve the tastes of the summer. Homemade strawberry jam is delicious. So if you guys want to try something that's pretty easy as your first preserve, strawberry jam is the way to go. It's literally washed, chopped up or mashed up strawberries, sugar, and pectin. That's pretty much all you need to make it besides your jars. So I'm going to start filling this into these jars so they can go back in here, and when I've done that, I will bring you guys back. Alright guys, so I thought I would show you just a little bit of me filling the jars. You can see those ones back there are already filled. They take about a 1/4 inch headspace on jam and jelly, which is not very much. If you have that little measuring stick, feel free to use it. I have canned quite a bit now that I kind of just eyeball it. Half pints with my ladle here are about 2 ladles full, and then maybe just a little bit more to get it to that 1/4 inch mark. And it all depends on the jar too. I mean, they're kind of supposed to be universal, but sometimes I notice they are, depending on the shape, they are just a little bit different. I can get that filled in there to where I want it. I think that's about good. It's so hard to see in this jar that actually I think that's a little too much. So what you can do is just take a little spoon and just take a little out. I think that's probably good there. Let's give it a little look. So hard for me to do one-handed. Put that in there, and we probably could have left that little scoop in, but that is fine. I think that these jars are just a little bit bigger than a half pint. So that's a little bit more than a 1/4 inch headspace. That's closer to a 1/2 inch. So if I have a little left over, I will add it in there. But I'm going to go ahead. I think I'll get 2 more, maybe that 3rd one, but I'm not sure. And we'll wipe the rims, get the lids on, and get these in the canner. So stay with me. Okay guys, so from this double batch of Pomona's Pectin Strawberry Jam, we got 7 half pints and 1 12-ounce jelly jar. That one back there, you can see the jelly is already kind of set up a little bit. That is the last jar really scraped out from the pan. The headspace on that one's about a 1/2 inch, and I will most likely keep that one for my family. A lot of these will be for my family, but I definitely want to try entering at least 1 into the fair, and a couple will probably go into the basket that I take to my work and sell to my coworkers. So I will wipe the rims off. I don't think I need to show you that to you guys. It's pretty easy. With jam and jelly, I just take a little bit of very hot water with a paper towel, go around the rim, and you make sure that there's nothing on there before you set your lids that have been soaking in warm water on top with a band. So I will bring you guys back when I am about to load these into the canner. Alright guys, these are ready to go in the canner. The lids and bands are on fingertip tight. Pick one up so you guys can see it a little better. Bring it over into light. You can see that the strawberry pieces that are in there are uniform throughout. They're even down at the bottom and up at the top, and that is because I let it sit for just a little while before I ladled it into the jars, so that when you go to eat it, all your little strawberry pieces aren't just going to be on the top, they're going to be throughout your jam, which is how you want it. And then these are just going to go right in here into this water bath canner. The water's still very hot. It's not quite boiling. I'm going to load this up with these jars right here, and when I come back I'll let you guys see what it looks like, and we'll be ready to get it to a full rolling boil. Alright guys, so there's our jars loaded in. You can see a little air escaping already from those jars. That's what you want. That's what helps create the vacuum on those. So whenever you put your jars in the hot water, the air inside is going to start to get hot, and as you know, when things get hot, they expand and they have to come out. That's why you don't want your rings on too tight, because then the air can't escape. So fingertip tight on the rings. I'm going to cover this up. I'm going to wait till it comes to a full rolling boil, and then I'm going to time it for 10 minutes. And full rolling boil means that it is like bubbling away in there. This is not even close right now. So we'll put the lid on. We'll wait for it to come up, and after 10 minutes I will show you them coming out of the canner. And if I get a chance, I will show you guys. Let's see here. I have, maybe a couple of cups of strawberries left, and I have some rhubarb that needs to be used up. So I think that I might also make a strawberry rhubarb jam. I will just use the same pot because this only had strawberry in it, and I'm making strawberry and rhubarb together, so that should be fine. So I'm going to make that next, and we'll get that into the canner as well. I'll add a few more jars. There's a few in there that I didn't use. I didn't use that little 4-ounce one and 2 of the 8-ounce ones, and I'll just let those boil in there. It's not going to hurt them at all. And then when these full ones come out, I will add a few more jelly jars in there to be ready for my next batch. And I may just put that on this video, or I don't know, maybe I'll make a separate video. This one's already 27 minutes, and I haven't even showed you guys the end result. So I'll probably finish this completely and then start a new video on how to make the strawberry rhubarb jam. So stick with me. Jam's almost ready. I'll show you what it looks like when it comes out of the canner. So for you guys, it should just be a few seconds, and I'll see you in a minute. Bye. Okay guys, our jam is boiled away. It is ready to take out of the canner now. Woo. There's the jars. I'm going to take them out for you. Take the tallest one out first, just make it easier. I do tilt mine just a tiny bit to try and get that water off. And then, if I can get it out from under my range, I'll set it right there. There it is. Strawberry, organic strawberry jam made with Pomona's pectin. So I'm going to give you just a second here. Give me just a second, actually, I should say. I'm going to get all of these out. I'm going to bring you guys back for one last shot and a little overview of how to use the Pomona's pectin. So give me just 1 second. I'll be right back. Okay guys, so there is the 7 half pints and 1 12-ounce jelly jar, all out of the canner. None of them have sealed yet. It's a little warm today. It may take a little longer for these to seal, but I'm sure they all will. They processed for 10 minutes in the boiling water bath canner before I took them out. I'll go over real quick with the Pomona's pectin. The recipe was 4 cups of mashed strawberries, and anywhere from 3/4 cups to 2 cups of sugar, and that was one batch. I doubled that, so I did 8 cups of strawberries and approximately 4 cups of sugar. I did 3 cups that you guys saw, and there was already some in my berries like I told you before. A single batch takes 2 teaspoons of the calcium water that you make up and 2 teaspoons of pectin, so I used 4 of each to make this. I brought the berries with a tiny bit of organic butter to a boil You saw me dump in the sugar that was mixed with the pectin. That's how the directions call for it on the Pomona's recipe pamphlet. So I poured the whole thing in. I brought it to a boil for about 2 minutes. It said 1 to 2 minutes. I like to be on the safe side. I did it for about 2 minutes. I tested the gel by sheeting it on a spoon and then with the cold plate like I showed you. Jarred it up, wiped the rims, and put the lids on and the rings on and put them in the boiling bath water and processed them for 10 minutes like I said. So that is how you can organic strawberry preserves, jam, whatever you want to call it, with Pomona's pectin, which is a lower sugar pectin. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys give it a try. If you do, leave me a comment. If you use Pomona's pectin and love it, leave me a comment. I love to hear from you guys. And until next time, I'll see you later. Bye.